Today I'll be growing turnip greens, beets, and mustard greens. It's a common misconception that it's really hard to grow things during the winter time, but you can with a microclimate, which is similar to a greenhouse because it controls the temperature and the humidity of the climate. I'm going to show you 3 basic steps. I'm going to prep the area, then I'm going to plant the seeds, then I'm going to protect it. So to start preparing, you obviously need a space. You can do this on the ground, but it might work a little better with a raised bed like this one. This raised bed actually grew about 30 pounds of tomatoes. So the first thing I'm gonna do is rip out these old tomatoes. So next, I'm going to prep the bed for the seeds. Now this soil is actually from the topsoil in this native forest. If you don't have access to topsoil in a native forest, you can simply go to your local Pike's nursery, get some organic soil, a few bags, and then drop them in your bed. So luckily, these lovely leaves have fallen on the bed, which is actually really good for the soil because it's organic carbon. And I'm going to flip the soil, disturb the soil, so the organic carbon will get buried, which feeds our seeds. So you want the leaves to be nice and buried within the soil. So the leaves, when they break down, feed the soil organisms. Then the organisms turn around and feed the new plants. I have my beet seeds here. These particular seeds came from a local nursery that I trust. If you don't have a local nursery that you trust, you can also go online. And the best type of seeds to get as far as easiness when growing and as far as health optimization are heirloom variety, older genetics, because they're easier to grow and they have more nutrients. So what I'm going to do is take these beet seeds and I'm going to sprinkle them around this entire bed. So when you're growing seeds, the best thing to do is to grow them as thick as possible because it's a lot easier to pull out excess. It's impossible to plant more. So you want to spread it out as thick as possible. So that's what I'm going to do next. So I'm just sprinkling these on top. You want the soil to be pretty flat and even. And there you go. Next, I'm going to add my mustard seeds. So the beets and the turnips grow underground and the mustard seeds will grow above ground, much like the forest you see behind me. Things growing under and above. I know some people like to just plant one thing at a time, but that's not nearly as abundant as a 3-dimensional garden. So here we go. I'm going to take these lovely seeds and just sprinkle them all over the soil. We're also going to eat the leaves when they grow because the leaves are very healthy for you. High quality nutrients in the leaves. And the third seed I'm going to plant are the turnip seeds. I'm just going to sprinkle them like the others all over. Nice and even. And there you go. So now I'm going to tickle the seeds. I'm just kidding. You don't have to make that noise unless you feel like it. The noise is not required. But this is called tickling. Tickling just puts them a little under the ground before I water them. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Tickle, 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 tickle. So next I'm going to lightly water. You want to have a very light mist. Most plants do a lot better with about 2 minutes of a light water and then stepping away until the next day or so. You don't want to overload with too much water. For the first 2 weeks for this particular garden, you want to keep the soil very damp for the first 2 weeks. So you probably want to water for about 2 minutes every day. And after the 2 weeks is up, a good rule of thumb, you're going to water as needed. So what you can do to see if your garden needs watering after that 2 weeks is up, take your thumb and just stick it in the soil up to your knuckle. And then if it comes out really wet and dirty, that's a sign it's nice and damp and you don't need to water. If it comes out dry, you probably need to water. So now that I've watered the garden, next I'm going to double cover. Because it's November and it's pretty cold, I'm going to use this plastic cover here, and then I'm going to top it with a greenhouse top. And what that's going to do is function as an air barrier to really keep in heat. 1 greenhouse top can work great, but 2 keeps it warmer. So this is just a standard plastic cover. You can get this stuff at Home Depot. Just lay it nice and flat. And then the greenhouse topper will go right on top. And this fits right inside. So what this does is it keeps everything nice and warm, which is basically a microclimate. Now remember, seeds don't need a whole lot of sunlight to germinate. So once the seeds germinate, we will remove this inner layer and let the seeds grow inside this 3-dimensional layer. And the seeds will receive plenty of sunlight through this plastic. I hope this video inspires you to grow your own greens in the winter time. It's really easy. Again, the greenhouse topper and the plastic, you can get this at Home Depot. It's not very expensive. Why grow your own greens and your own food? Because it's so much healthier. When you pick greens directly from the plant, the nutrient value is so much more potent than waiting until it's been sitting out. Because as soon as you pick a beet leaf or a mustard green and you leave it out, the nutrients are dwindling. And beets and mustard greens and turnips all have so many antioxidants and healthy nutrients, so you want to pick them and then eat them immediately for optimal health. Thank you so much for stopping by Yoga Flow with Kim today. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, concerns, please comment below. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to hear how your gardening is going. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.